The Lost Key. Emma was a curious girl who loved exploring old places. One summer afternoon, while visiting her grandmother's village, she discovered an old shed behind the house. The door was locked, and a rusty sign on it read, "Keep out." Emma asked her grandmother about the shed, but she just smiled and said, "It's been locked for years." That night, Emma couldn't stop thinking about the shed. Early the next morning, she returned and noticed something shiny in the grass. It was a small golden key. Her heart beat fast. Was this the key to the shed? She tried it on the lock. Click. The door opened slowly with a loud creak. Inside, the air smelled like dust and wood. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling. But in the center of the room was a beautiful wooden box. Emma opened the box and found old photographs, letters, and a diary. They belonged to her great-grandfather, who had disappeared many years ago. The diary explained that he had hidden these memories to protect them during the war. Emma spent the whole day reading the diary. She learned about her family's history, their struggles, and their dreams. When her grandmother saw what Emma had found, tears filled her eyes. "Thank you," she said. "I thought it was all lost." From that day on, Emma knew that sometimes the smallest key can unlock the biggest secrets. The secret room. After discovering the old diary and photographs, Emma and her grandmother became even closer. They spent many afternoons reading the letters together, laughing and sometimes crying at the stories inside. One day, while cleaning the shed, Emma noticed something strange. Behind the wooden box was a loose wooden panel in the wall. She tapped it. It sounded hollow. Carefully, she pulled the panel away and gasped. There was a small door hidden behind the wall. Emma called her grandmother. "Look at this." Her grandmother looked surprised. "I've lived here my whole life. I never knew this was here." They opened the door slowly. Behind it was a narrow staircase leading down into the ground. The air felt cooler and damp. Emma's heart raced, but she was too curious to stop. Step by step, they went down together. At the bottom, they found a small stone room filled with old books, maps, and strange tools. On the wall was a painting of a man. Emma's great-grandfather. "This must have been his secret workshop," her grandmother whispered. They found blueprints for inventions, letters in different languages, and a locked chest. The chest had a symbol on it, the same one that was on the golden key. Emma inserted the key once again. Click. Inside was a journal wrapped in cloth. It explained that her great-grandfather had worked as an inventor and helped many people during the war. He had hidden this place to keep his work safe. Emma couldn't believe it. Her great-grandfather wasn't just a quiet farmer. He was a hero. From that day forward, Emma decided to study history and invention. She wanted to share her great-grandfather's story with the world, and maybe write a book one day. The Lost Key didn't just open a shed. It opened a new future. Emma's discovery. Weeks passed, and Emma continued reading her great-grandfather's journal every night. Each page was filled with drawings, secret codes, and notes about his inventions. But one page caught her attention more than the others. At the top, it read, "The hidden compass. It shows what the eyes can't see." There was a small drawing of a strange-looking compass. It didn't point north like a normal one. Instead, it had unusual symbols around the edge. Emma showed the page to her grandmother. "I've never seen anything like that," her grandmother said. "Maybe it's still hidden somewhere in the shed." Emma searched for hours. Finally, under a loose floorboard in the secret room, she found a metal box. Inside was the compass. It looked exactly like the drawing. When she held it in her hand, The compass needle spun wildly, then stopped, pointing toward the far wall. Confused but excited, Emma followed its direction. She moved her hand along the wall until she found a tiny button hidden under the stone. She pressed it. Click! Part of the wall opened to reveal a narrow tunnel. Emma and her grandmother looked at each other. "Do you think we should go in?" Emma asked. Her grandmother hesitated, then smiled. "Adventure runs in our family." They walked slowly through the tunnel, the compass guiding their way. It led them to a small underground chamber. Inside were boxes labeled "For the Future." Inside the boxes were blueprints for clean energy machines, letters about helping people, and even a letter addressed to the finder of the key. Emma opened the letter and read, "If you are reading this, you are part of something bigger. Use what you find here to help others. The future depends on you." Tears filled Emma's eyes. She wasn't just uncovering the past, she was shaping the future. From that moment, Emma knew her life had changed forever. A message for the world. After finding the underground chamber, Emma couldn't stop thinking about the message in the letter. Use what you find here to help others. She spent the next days carefully studying the blueprints and notebooks. Many of the ideas were far ahead of their time. Machines that used sunlight to create clean power, simple water filters for villages, and even a design for a flying machine. Emma started researching more about science and invention. She contacted her school science teacher, Mr. Harris, and shared what she had found. Mr. Harris was amazed. "These are incredible, Emma. You should present this at the town's science fair." Emma worked hard for weeks. With her grandmother's help, she built a small model of one of her great-grandfather's solar inventions. When the day of the fair arrived, she stood nervously in front of the crowd, holding the compass in her hand like a good luck charm. She began her speech. "This invention is not mine. It belongs to a man who wanted to help the world, but had to hide his work. Today, I want to bring his ideas back to life, to help others, just like he wanted." The room went quiet. Then, applause filled the hall. Emma won first place, but more importantly, people wanted to know more about her great-grandfather. Local reporters came to interview her. A museum even asked to see the journal and inventions. Soon, Emma's story was on the news. She became known as the girl who found the past to build the future. But Emma didn't stop there. She created a website to share her great-grandfather's inventions with the world, free for anyone who wanted to use them to help others. And every time she felt nervous or unsure, she held the golden compass and remembered the message. The future depends on you. A new beginning. Months passed and Emma's life changed in many ways. She was invited to speak at schools and science events. People around the world started using her great-grandfather's inventions in small villages, on farms, even in cities. One day, Emma received a letter from a young boy in Kenya. It said, "Thank you for sharing the water filter. My family now has clean water. You changed our lives." Emma held the letter to her heart. She never imagined that finding an old key would lead to helping people across the world. But there was still one last mystery. Inside the journal, at the very end, was a strange map. It showed a forest with a red X marked deep in the center. Next to it were the words, "Final gift. Only for the one who understands." Emma knew what she had to do. That weekend, she and her grandmother followed the map into the forest behind the village. They walked for hours until the compass started spinning again, just like before. Then suddenly it stopped, pointing at a large tree with a hollow trunk. Inside, wrapped in cloth, was a small wooden box. Emma opened it. Inside was a letter and a small golden ring. The letter said, "To the one who finds this, you are the future I dreamed of, not because of what you build, but because of how you care." Tears filled Emma's eyes. Her great-grandfather hadn't just left inventions. He left love, hope, and belief in a better world. She wore the ring from that day on, not as a prize, but as a promise. A promise to keep exploring. A promise to keep helping. A promise to never forget the power of a single key. To unlock something much bigger than a door.